Okay, thank you everybody for coming. Maybe some more people will pop in through the door as we go, that's fine. Is everybody comfortable? Everybody found a cushion? I had to steal that one, so if somebody wants to sit there, they'd have to grab a different cushion. So. We have a bunch of regulars, no new people here at all, so.
I can pretend I'm not.
No, no pretending.
Please,
No.
you've come so far, Tom.
No illusions. Yeah. What we'll do tonight, since we're all so versed in meditation, I'd like to, when we're done meditating, and we kind of have a small group here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, perfect. So we'll have, when we're done meditating, I haven't done this for quite a while, but I'm sure some of you experienced it when I did this, that the focus of our attention is really attention itself, or awareness. So the idea that, on Saturday we were talking about how we are consciousness, consciousness is out there, and everything is consciousness. But there's still that feeling of who we are, right? I mean, even, I say, I am consciousness, and that's consciousness, and everything is consciousness. Like if I was like taking a bottle and filling it with consciousness and dipping it into a lake of consciousness, it's all the same stuff, right? But there's still that aspect of, it just feels like there's something more here, And if we look at that as awareness, and the primary ingredient of awareness is knowing, knowing that something, knowing that we are aware of something. And being human, I don't think animals have this ability, but I could be wrong. But us humans have the ability to be aware that we're aware, that we are the watcher of the one being having this awareness. So we can focus on something, what my hand or whatever it might be, and as I know that I am focusing on this, there's an aspect of me that is aware of that whole process, right? And it becomes very, that's still not who we are. We are still selfless beings, and we don't really have time to go too deep into that. But it can be very apparent in meditation that we can have this awareness, and we do have this awareness. And so if we rest in meditation, and it's the very simple practice, what I'm proposing here is that you just know what you're being aware of in your meditation. Whether you're focusing on the breath as your meditation object, just know that you're aware of the breath and how long you're aware of it. And if your awareness leaves the breath, where does it go? And just be aware, of all that process and how it all works. And because in meditation, even if we're doing a concentration practice where seemingly we're kind of drifting off, we're not supposed to. But seemingly, it's like if we're focusing on the breath or focusing on the tip of the nose intently without having concern about what is arising in our field of awareness, sometimes people have a tendency to drift off. Everything becomes kind of soft and very comfortable, and we kind of go into this la-la land, this kind of spacious area. And it's very comfortable and very relaxing, but it's probably not really doing a lot for us in our, as far as what meditation should be doing for us. Even if we are concentrating intently on one stationary object, like the tip of the nose or the breath or something like that, we should be aware. We should be aware of this entire process and know where our awareness is going. Ideally, and that would be really like a perfect meditation, if we can know where our awareness is at each given moment. Does that make sense? And so I'm making it a little bit more more established, possibly we could say, by telling you that I will ask you at the end of the meditation what your awareness was on, how your meditation was. It could be very simple, or it could be very elaborate. But what we'll just ask you to be very honest and explain your meditation when we're done. We'll try to do it in such a way that we can kind of make it interesting for the viewers that are watching the stream to kind of express it in such a way that they can understand it and hear it. In other words, the microphone picks up back there a little bit, but not every word, so we'll have to be real careful. So it's all about awareness. That's the invitation tonight. Being aware, knowing that we are the one that is aware, or we are the watcher of the awareness. And believe it or not, I believe that we can be aware through the entire meditation. So if we do like a 35, 40-minute meditation, we can be aware every moment, intently aware, and know what we're doing without drifting off into la-la land, kind of half asleep. By the way, a lot of people will ask me about fantasy. You know, there's focusing on the breath, and there's watching our awareness, there's watching our feelings and states and all these things that come up in our meditation, but they ask, what is that fantasy? What is that all about? You know, it just comes up. But that is fatigue. That's the mind taking advantage of us. It's interesting. It's like as soon as we get a little bit, almost like a little drowsy or a little bit too comfortable, and our mind just starts drifting off, that fantasy will show up. Everybody know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of entertaining, but not meditation, you know. And
dreaming.
yeah, it's like that. A lot of people like that twilight, like on the razor's edge between awake and sleep, you know, because they can kind of play with that twilight zone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun, you know, but it's not part of our meditation practice. We can talk more about that when we're done meditating. So it's nice to have really no new meditators in here, all seasoned veterans, really. So it's good. Everybody feel like seasoned veterans? Yeah. Can I get a drink of water? Yeah. So again, thank you all for coming, and please make yourself comfortable. Gently close the eyes, if you haven't done so already. Just bring your attention to the body for a few minutes and notice how it feels. And then we place our attention on the body, we can place our attention on the breath just as easily. I'd like to just take a few moments and kind of lead us through a body scan, perhaps one of the most basic meditation practices. There is kind of a practice that's become popular because of it's often used in after yoga workouts and that type of thing. And the body scan is, of course, systematically relaxing the body part by part or increment by increment. Some people like to start at the feet, at the bottom. Some people like to start at the top, at the head. And I like to start at the top, so it kind of feels as if the relaxation is kind of flowing down throughout the body. And in other words, any kind of stress or tension that we're holding in the body kind of being drawn out in a kind of a gravitational way. Let gravity do some of the work, so to speak. So if we imagine that we are holding a little bit of stress or tension in the body, something that we can easily get rid of, especially with the aid of the breath. We can use the breath as a tool to kind of relax the body part by part, starting with the forehead, the top of the head. And of course, when we use the breath, just every time we exhale, that is the most calming part of the breath. We use that to breathe through these areas of the body in a visualization type of practice. You can imagine, breathing through the forehead or the top of the head, cooling and calming. Visualize any kind of stress or tension, any kind of muscular tension in the forehead, for example, just completely ironing out by focusing and breathing through it. Every time we breathe out, the exhalation, the most relaxing part of the breath. You can bring that relaxation down into the area of the eyes, the temples. Exhaling, bring that relaxation down to the area of the cheeks, the nose, sides of the head and the back of the head. And bring that relaxation down into the area of the jaw. Just gently exhaling, relaxing the jaw. This is an area that we very seldom try to relax, including the tongue. If we relax the tongue, we can relax almost the entire body by just being aware and conscious of that. As we exhale, let this relaxation move down into the neck. And now down into the shoulders. We can kind of shrug the shoulders a little bit and make sure that we get a really good feeling for what it feels like to have them loosen up. No tension, no stress. Keep using the breath. And we allow this stress and tension to ease up. Let the relaxation move into the arms, relaxing the biceps, the triceps, down past the elbows and into the forearms. Inhaling, exhaling, let this relaxation move through the wrists and down into the hands. Relaxing the fingers and the palms, backs of the hands. Let that relaxation make its way out of the body, if you wish, through the fingertips. And you can visualize as much as you want with this kind of practice. You can go as deep as you like, deeper into the tissue, deeper into the body. All I'm doing is simply naming parts. We can bring our awareness to the torso or the trunk of the body and relax the upper back area between the shoulder blades. Then around the front of the body, the area of the chest or the heart chakra. Exhaling, relaxing. Let this relaxation move into the middle of the back and around the front into the area of the sternum. Let this relaxation move down into the lower back. Along with the shoulders is another area that we tend to hold on to stress and tension. It's also an area that we rely on a lot for balance. Allow this awareness to go around the front of the body into the area of the stomach or the lower abdomen. Then we make our way down into the hips. Kind of feel ourselves balanced in our seating posture, whether it's cushion or chair. Let this relaxed awareness move down into the legs, relaxing the thighs, the hamstrings. With an exhalation, try relaxing the knees. Let this relaxation move down into the shins and calves of the legs. With an exhalation, let the relaxation move past the ankles, slowly into the feet, tops of the feet and the soles of the feet. In the same way that we did with the fingers, we can imagine any stress or tension leaving the body through the toes. You can visualize maybe a particular color or a smoke film or something leaving the body. Let that tension go out into the atmosphere. It's nothing that we need at this moment. We can still be aware and awake without any kind of stress or tension. Nothing but positive energy. That's what we're looking for and expecting, especially during our meditation practice. There's always something to let go of. If we feel any kind of stress or tension in the body, that gives us an indication that we should be letting go of something more, something that is not serving us. Could be different things for different people. But the body is a great way to start and to use it as a barometer for what is happening within the mind. There's a mind-body connection there for sure. Generally, if there's a body part that we're having trouble with, there's something related to the mental aspect of our world. So body scans can be very useful, very useful tool to understand ourselves at a deeper level. A nice way to conclude a body scan is doing something called a sweep. As we exhale, each time we exhale, just imagine that the whole body's being swept away of any kind of negativity. Relaxation comes to the body. Sweep from the top of the body, all the way from the head, all the way down to the toes each time you exhale. I kind of like to visualize a hula hoop, a big hoop, starting at the top of the body and going all the way down, whether I'm sitting or standing or whatever it might be, as like a beam of relaxation. Just passing through the body every time I exhale. And if we do this in a way that we use visualization and imagery, this is actually a type of tantric practice, which is primarily visualization, meditation with visualization. And so with a relaxed body, comfortable, balanced, you can shine that light of awareness on awareness itself. What are we aware of? If we are doing the body scan properly, we're aware of these increments of the body. And again, there was a part of us that knew that we were aware of that while that was happening for the most part. There's a part of us that could say that I was aware that I was doing a body scan. I was aware that I was relaxing the shoulders. So it was the awareness, watching the ability to know and be aware that we were using the breath to relax the body in certain areas. So right now we can be aware of the sounds in the room, which is primarily my voice. We can be aware of sensations in the body. We can be aware of the rising and falling away of pleasant or unpleasant feelings associated with any of this, associated with our thoughts or sounds or any kind of tactile sensations or even sensations within the body. When we relax the body feels better, and we have an awareness of this, a knowing. And just like using the body in our meditation to understand ourselves at a deeper level, we can use this awareness to understand ourselves at a deeper level as well, just by following the mind. Not trying to control it or necessarily, but just following it, staying with it, knowing what is happening. And as always in any meditation, there's a great deal of acceptance and renunciation or letting go if that's called for, if the opportunity arises. It's more of a non-judgmental observation of what is coming up within our experience moment by moment. Our job is just to be present of these moment by moment arisings of mind and body, inside and outside. And just imagine that you want to intently be aware of this knowing, be aware of this awareness, as if you'll be asked after the meditation what you were primarily aware of and how your meditation actually felt and was for you. There's a few people that didn't get. There's a few people that didn't get that.
Who else needs one of these?
Dan. So it appears that there is one typo, the first paragraph on this, the Loving Kindness Sutra, gentle in speech in the first paragraph, as opposed to gentle and speech. So we will recite this together. Loving Kindness Sutra. To attain the state of peace, one skilled in goodness should be able, upright, perfectly upright, gentle in speech, kind, and free from pride, contented, easily satisfied, with limited duties and unburdened livelihood, controlled in senses, discreet, reserved, and not blindly attached to groups. One should not commit the slightest wrong, that the wise might censor, wishing, may there be happiness and security, may all beings be happy. Whatever beings there are, whether feeble or strong, tall or short, large, medium, or small, microscopic or mammoth, leaving none, seen or unseen, living near or far away, born or to be born, may all beings be happy. Let one not deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere, neither in anger nor in ill will should one wish another harm. Just as a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so, one should not concern for all living beings. Extend loving kindness throughout the world without limitation, above, below, and across, free of obstruction, enmity, or hostility. Whether standing, walking, sitting, or lying down, one should diligently sustain this mindfulness. This is called sublime living. Without holding narrow views, but being endowed with a broad vision and avoiding attachment to sense desires, the virtuous are not born again into this world. May each one of us and all beings be well, happy, and peaceful. May no harm come to us, and may no difficulties come to us, and may we all meet with spiritual and worldly success. And may we have the patience, the courage, and the understanding to meet and overcome any problems or any difficulties that we might face in life. Thank you. So the invitation was awareness and being aware while meditating, as opposed to what the other things that can happen, non-awareness, drifting off. And there's that aspect of that, like I said, that we can be aware of that we are aware. And again, that really doesn't mean that's who we are. It's just natural. It's happening. It's happening automatically. And one of the questions in Thailand, we used to watch these autopsies all the time, and the reason we did it is so that even after the body's all cut up, you can't find the self. You can't find any part of the self within that. It's just organs, just pieces. And after a while, it's not even really a body. It's just parts. Take the parts apart, and then you put it back together, and you kind of sew up the cavity, and then you kind of have what resembles a body again. But there's no life form in it or anything like that. And you always wonder where does the consciousness go? Where does the awareness go? Where does all that mind stuff go? And the way it is really described spiritually, like in Buddhism, is that it is still there. Consciousness is there. It doesn't die, doesn't change. The awareness itself is there too. The knowing, although the individual, you could say individual mind that knows the knowing is not there anymore. And so we're kind of talking about, different terminologies, different ways to express awareness, and it can get kind of confusing, but if we look at awareness as knowing, and so in our meditation practices, we knew that we were focusing on the breath, hopefully, and we knew when we're not. We knew when we were thinking about the future or thinking about the past. And that is key right there, to know that, to kind of divide our attention up, that awareness up, like my mind went to the future, to fixing. That's where my mind goes a lot, to fixing. Tonight, my mind went, right before I left here, my brother called me from South Dakota. It's freezing up there, I tell you. They got almost 50 inches of snow this year, and it's just pretty brutal up there. But that's not why he called. He called just to kind of see how our dad is doing, and which is kind of interesting. He likes to go to the casino. He drives to the casino, and it's not so weird that he's driving, but he's 94 years old, and driving down Highway 101. Yeah, and it's a brand new Honda, and stuff. It's kind of funny, but he does all right. He's never been in an accident in all those years. Nothing. Not even so much as a fender. Somebody did hit his Cadillac and hurt his Cadillac fatally this past summer, but it wasn't his fault. But he's never had an accident where it was his fault before. And so, but I caught myself kind of wondering and kind of worrying about that, because his eyesight isn't very good, and I know he's probably pulling out in front of people. And it's like not only his safety, but the safety of everybody, So I started thinking about that, and I realized that I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm meditating right now, It's just like everyday stuff. And it pulls you, it grabs you. But for the most part, that lasted, I don't know, it felt like it lasted about 3 minutes, but maybe it was more than that. But the first part of my awareness was leading everybody through the guided aspect of the meditation. And so I was aware that I was actually visualizing parts of the body and just expressing in words what I was doing in my meditation. And so I was really right in it myself. And so that was up until about 7:30. And so we had another 30 minutes of silence. That's almost like giving the mind permission to go, wahoo, here we go, out here, over here, past, future, or whatever it might be. But if we kind of break it up into, it's almost like we have to break it up into almost kind of like 3-minute intervals or something like that, like 6 sections of our meditation in many respects. Some of us felt like we were very, very aware all the time. Some of us maybe not so much, but I started out after guiding, being really in tune to the breath. I caught my mind wandering off. And then I came back to one of the practices that I often do is, breathing in prana, bringing in energy, focusing on the breath and really stabilizing the posture, kind of visualizing the Buddhist posture. And then relaxing on the exhalation, so I can meditate longer, without being, we want to be aware, but we don't want to be stiff, we don't want to be stressed out. So we exhale and relax, and inhale, bring in energy, kind of bringing up the posture, exhale, relax. So I did that practice for much of this. That's something that I do regularly. And but caught my mind wandering. You know, I hope I'm not alone saying that. You know, just being completely honest, I caught my mind wandering off on really the aspect of awareness, kind of, and if I'm expressing that and explaining it clearly. So I kind of visualize myself sitting, you know, out there with you people, and whether I'm, you know, putting the information out clearly enough and simply enough for everybody to grasp it, you know, so people don't get frustrated. And that's something I do a lot too. Just try to imagine that I'm listening to this stuff, you know, and it's kind of like awareness, watching awareness when you do that. But I would kind of like to hear briefly from everybody what how they thought their awareness was. Anybody want to start?
I thought I maintained the awareness a little, but I drifted off on other thoughts like shopping that needs to be done, and then I just brought it back to the breath.
Yeah, caught it
So
and
I
brought it
had a
back.
little pain in my knees, kind of focused there for a little bit, but otherwise,
You felt like your meditation was
felt silent.
pretty good. Yeah, yeah, good. Did you get some shopping done? A little bit.
The grandson needs a birthday card.
Trader Joe's.
Important stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Trader Joe's is a good place to get cards. And you can pick up some other things while you're there too. Anybody else have to do some? Anybody else? Danny?
Yeah, I have to go get dog food. That's where I came up. I went before, after work, and they didn't have it there, so I bought a different bag. But I'd rather find the right bag of food for him, so that came up at some point.
That was in your meditation? You're shopping also?
Yeah.
Huh? It's not even Christmas
No.
time. Huh?
But otherwise, it was good. This one was solid. It was quiet. I heard the crickets a lot. I was like,
Anybody else hear crickets? Really?
yeah. And I can't really hear them, like, even once you started talking, then but like I was pretty in on that through a lot. I could hear that. So I found myself using that kind of as the object more than, you know, so I switched from the breath sometimes.
Yeah.
Whenever there was a louder noise, like, it would jolt me, and then I would come into my body and be a little more aware of that. Because after doing the scanning, I think same thing, I became very aware of the body, and then that fell away pretty quickly.
Yeah.
In the meditation. So.
Yeah, it seems like we always, you know, start with the body, regardless of whether we do any scanning or not. But sometimes for very short times, we sit down and we go, "Oh, okay, that feels good or feels weird or whatever," you know. And then we're in the body, you know. But if we do the scanning first, and a lot of people use that as a setup practice, scanning, going into the body. You know, at will for the first 10 minutes of the practice or something, and kind of stay with it with the scanning. It's good practice. Anybody else?
I was aware that there wasn't a dog barking.
That's right.
It was nice and quiet.
Yeah, it's a very quiet room here, comparatively. Yeah,
I was very aware of that.
yeah. That's one of the reasons we wanted to do the streaming here, and it was a little bit too noisy over at the temple, you know, sadly. You know, just the barking dog in the background. Yeah.
I kind of miss it because I used the dog. I used the dog's barking.
You might want to record some barking and then wear some earplugs, or, you know, kind of keep you.
I hear a dog way off someplace barking. Did anybody else hear that?
I can hear that.
Right around the crickets, obviously.
Crickets are drowning out the dog.
Yeah.
Dog's drowning out the crickets. Yeah.
I really appreciate
appreciated the scanning because it just really brought me into my body, and then I was connecting with my heart, and then I got very expansive and everything was fantastic, and then I kind of went into fantasy, and then I came back and I was listening, then I started concentrating on the crickets and all the noises just to bring myself back. That was a really good meditation.
It was good.
It was excellent.
Okay, good, yeah. Were you, if you were going to give yourself a percentage of time that you felt you were aware, really aware of what was happening, what would that percentage be? Any idea?
I would say probably 75%.
Oh, that's great. That's great, yeah.
It was really
Yeah, that's another thing we can do is look at percentages. Sometimes we do that for concentration practices. Like if we're going to sit and try to be intently concentrated for whatever period of time, then afterwards we ask ourselves, what percentage, you know, just to kind of see where we're at. You know, it's kind of like we don't want to take any of this too serious, but we can use different tools to kind of strengthen things a little bit. Anybody else?
I felt pretty connected tonight, and I noticed when, so I got over the initial stuff, okay, see the drapes behind you? Okay, I was looking at those, I was looking at the light parts, and I was going, oh, that's kind of like the eyes looking out, right? And I figured out we're supposed to be concentrating on breath. So maybe that's the actual nasal cavities.
Ah,
Looking out like that, and I was trying to figure out which one was coming in, which one's going out, and then I was looking at all the shrubs around and going, whatever it is, we need to trim those nose hairs, right? And so anyway, then we got into the meditation, and I settled down, right? And I remember noticing the sound of one of the planes, right, which is pretty constant, and somehow I was able to pretty smoothly incorporate that just kind of into a breath, rather than looking at it as a distraction, just kind of syncing my breath to the sound of the plane, you know, just real slow in and out. It was
Yeah.
pretty cool, actually.
yeah.
You realize
Good.
that those are both the same, right? Those are both, that's the exact same picture as that.
Well, they're kind of like identical twins.
Are they the same? And I would be like in the upper lip or something? Is that where I'm?
You're a little Hitler mustache.
Yeah, no, you're
Oh, I
right
see.
with the septum there. Yeah.
I see what you're looking at, yeah. Yeah.
They're
That's
actually
good.
not identically the same. That branch is much lower and fatter on that lower branch there compared to that one.
But we'll trim those nose,
It's close.
we'll trim those nose hairs regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get rid of the curtains.
Off with the curtains.
My meditation was very good, actually. I'd say 85%.
Great.
Yeah, the best one I had in weeks.
Where were you at the other 15%?
The usual work and
Which work?
yeah,
You
my
do a lot of
day
things.
job, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then negative. I was thinking of skillful effort a little bit. You know, am I handling negative energies correctly, or am I falling into them too much? You know, that was there for a little bit, and then I got back to it.
Yeah, there is a, you know, when we actually use the Dharma for our practice, like Eightfold Path, or let's say we would dwell on something like the Four Noble Truths or something like that. That is we can use that as a meditation object, but it's more like a contemplation, because there's cognition happening. But if that is our intention, you know, we can use that. Like if we enjoy that, if we want and know that we're going to use that activity of the mind for running through the Eightfold Path or whatever it might be, that we can actually do that. Of course, we can do anything we want. I mean, there's no hard, fast rules, but that is that type of contemplation is something that the Buddha mentioned that we could do.
Almost like a mantra.
Well, it's the mind objects, or the dharmas, in the aspect of the anapanasati. You know, just studying it and using it for some aspect of our life or meditation or whatever. So, yeah, but that's good. 85%. That's good. So we're not necessarily going for percentages, but somebody started speaking back.
I was gonna say, I'll check in real quick. Yeah, that's my problem with the percentages is, I like to judge myself on. But yeah, it was good meditation for me also. I really appreciate the body scanning, because it's a great setup for me to put my attention on sensation.
Mm-hmm.
But then throughout the rest of the meditation, I paid particular attention to thoughts. Whenever, as soon as they came up, I tried to identify them, and I was pretty successful at that. And for me, that's the difference between putting my attention on a thought versus a sensation. I can put my attention on sensation, and the sensation will continue. If I put my attention on a thought, the thought stops instantly. And now I'm having a thought about the thought kind of thing.
Yep.
And the one thing that did occur to me, and I've tried to do it, and it doesn't work for me, maybe the Buddha could do it. I've tried to read a book while putting attention on the thoughts. It doesn't work at all. I can't read even half a page. I have to become absorbed in the thought to read a book. Do you know what I mean? I can't notice the thoughts while I'm reading a book. The continuity just goes,
Yeah, that's when you set the book aside, or you stop and kind of dwell on it, right? Correct? Yeah.
Well, no, I just read the book, and my consciousness is controlled by whatever the author is writing. I just let it all go. So I become absorbed in the thought.
Oh, I see.
As
Yeah.
opposed to observing the thought. I can't observe a thought and
Yeah.
be thinking at the same time.
Yeah. It's like there's too much happening. Yeah.
So you kind of intentionally surrender your consciousness?
Damn right, I do it all the time.
Aha. Excellent. That's good. Anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I had pretty good meditation, probably like 80%.
That's great.
That I was aware.
Great.
That's good for me. I had like sporadic moments throughout that where I was aware that there was nothing happening like mentally, and I was just present. And it was more than usual.
Yeah.
That's good for me.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that was?
I'm not really sure. I don't know.
Okay.
And I try to like label the thoughts when, I think you taught me that a while back about just when they come up, like, oh, that's past, oh, that's future, oh, that,
Past,
it just
future, yeah.
dissipates.
Yeah. So it's a way of breaking down the thinking, Sometimes we can look at flavors, like fear and anger. We talked about that quite a few times. Fear in the future, anger in the past. But then there's a lot of other emotions too, where or states that come up that don't so neatly fit into those packages, like past and future. Like some of the worry that we have. We can worry about the future, and we can worry, most of it is future-based, but sometimes we worry about something that someone did, something that somebody did, and how it affects, what they're doing now, so it can kind of be a mishmash, whatever. So it's, do any of us feel as if putting out the invitation to watch with awareness, that helped our meditation tonight? Few nodding heads. It's kind of like somebody, giving somebody instructions on doing something, but you can still do it your own way. I just want you to tell me how you did it. You know what I mean? Not trying to control anybody or anything like that. Like, you can telling somebody that they can build something. Telling a child that they can build something with Tinker Toys, and you can build anything you want, but I just want you to explain it to me when you're done. And so they're more intent on, you know, kind of, more intention there, you know, like I'm gonna make a wheel or whatever it might be. Tinker Toys. They still make those, I suppose, huh?
I don't know.
Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs. Those are the,
Yeah, Lincoln
those were the
Logs.
cool ones. Wow.
So, so I don't, I have my usual way of how I meditate. So now trying to be aware of the awareness,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got lost in that. All of a sudden, the thoughts from the past, things that I'm trying to put pieces together, and it was just and I'm watching this and I'm going, oh my God, this is awful.
Mm.
You know, and then I went into the future, and then I projected with all these thoughts, trying to put the, and I have, no, there's parts that I don't have clarity about.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what was that? And what was that? And what would that outcome have been? And what would that outcome have been? And I'm watching this, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm having this other awareness saying, you should be meditating.
Right.
This is all going on. And so then I would try to bring myself back. And I was so distressed that the minor, you know, the airplanes, everything was bothering me. And, you know, I was kind of relaxed after we did the body thing, but after that, the brain just, I mean, it was like charging buffalo. You know, it was just, I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
And I know trying to stop it makes it worse.
Yeah.
So just being gentle with it. So by the time we were done, I was like, oh, thank God. Now, I don't know if that awareness is a higher awareness than I've had before. But,
Yeah, I understand what you're asking, or what you're saying. It's like, maybe I'm not noticing all this stuff all the time? Is that what you mean? Or now I'm noticing it, and maybe I wasn't noticing it before?
Usually like when I go into the meditation, I can follow with the breath and stay with the body, and I can really let go of those thoughts.
Yeah.
Feel those feelings as sensations in the body.
Yeah.
But tonight was a train wreck.
Mm.
And it was because my brain went, oh no, he's gonna ask us about it, you know, how we're gonna get it.
Yeah, that's the
You
key.
know, geez, I'm gonna really try hard now, and then as soon as I said that, it just went right out the window. So I had like a 10%,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah,
And that
10%.
was fear,
Yeah. Fear.
and that was fear.
Okay.
It was fear, you know, that was-
How did you, you've been meditating long enough to know that meditation is a reflection of what's happening in our everyday life, though, right? How was your day to day? Was it?
I had some bumps in the road, yeah.
It wasn't
I
as
had a little-
smooth as
I had a
doing-
little epiphany. I was sitting with a bunch of other people, and all of a sudden I just went, oh my God. It was just one of those.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So some heavy heavy,
some real, some deep
heavy stuff.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, going back.
Yeah.
I try not to dig up the dead, but sometimes taking a look. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's one thing about meditation. Of course, tomorrow you'll have a completely different kind of meditation, probably. And might be one of those 95%ers, you know. But I still think it's the bad ones, or they're not bad, none of them are bad, but
No.
it's those other ones that really we learn the most from, I think.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so my awareness of all this was heightened.
Yeah.
You know, like I was just observing this and going, oh my God, this is a madhouse. You know?
These
And
darn
I'm sitting
buffalo.
here and stuff, they lock me up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe some
What?
maybe some heroin would be helpful.
Somewhat?
Heroin.
I tried that.
It
It's
doesn't work.
okay, but you know, the backhand's real rough.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate everybody's honesty, because it's good for all of us, to be able to share our meditations, and sometimes you know, sometimes you know, if somebody said, how'd your meditation go? Even if it was horrible, we could say, oh, it was so good. I'm so enlightened, you know. And, you know, because nobody knows. Nobody really knows, you know. But again, I say this many times that if our level of happiness just tells us whether our meditation is working for us or not. And so if we're happier than we were before we started meditating, you know, we're doing good. And that just usually means just sticking with the program, basically, staying with it. A couple of things, we're kind of running out of time here. I made up some flyers for a couple of things that are coming, not next month, but the month after. And I don't know if there's a plastic kind of flyer thing on the bench there, and I'm going to try to keep that up to date with different things that are happening. So please check that out from time to time. Our next one-day retreat is scheduled for April 7th. It's on a Sunday, of course. And then there's a mala making workshop. Does anybody have like a 21 bead mala? You got big malas. Anyone have a 21 bead mala? You have one with the Anya?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Okay, I don't have one. I make them and then I give them away, and then I have to make another one. But kind of like what Daniel has there. That's the kind of mala that we're making. And there's a flyer about that. The malas are used for meditation. And you make your own mala, and then we explain the history of the mala and what it's all about, and why we use it in meditation, how we can use it in meditation.
Is that here?
Yeah. On April 23rd, so it's not even next month, it's a month after. But I just want to point out that these flyers will be a little bit more consistent with some of that stuff. And of course, all these things are generally on Meetup, you know, the Meetup calendar. And then, of course, Friday night, we have the recovery meditation here. Tomorrow night, Paul's leading the Thursday night meditation over at the temple. Anything else?
Sundays. Gina.
Well, she has the meditation over at the temple. But we have the Dharma talk here on Sundays at 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And that is this Sunday with it's a nice group of people that you should check it out whenever you can. Chris, you still come to that, don't you, on Sundays? Yeah. There's a reading, and you can just come in and join in on Sunday afternoons. So Sunday around the valley here, there's a lot of meditation stuff going on. You know, there's all sorts of stuff in Phoenix and here and over all over the place. It's really incredible. When I first moved into this area, there was nothing. You know, that's why I started the Meditation Learning Center, because there wasn't anything going on. I thought, this isn't right. You know, a city this size. So, anything from anybody? All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you next week, if not before. All right? Thanks.